A lot of apprentices think that if things aren't quite clicking yet, it's because they just need more time to raise their skill level, to become more talented in order to last. But that's rarely the real issue for apprentices. Most apprentices don't make it have plenty of ability and plenty of talent to be very successful in the trade that they've chosen. But what holds them back are bad habits and patterns that are quietly stacking up until people stop mentoring, investing, and teaching them. Welcome to another episode of Retrocraft. My name is Joe Prim. Let's get into it. If you ever thought to yourself, I just need more experience, or they didn't show me the right way to do it, or once I get a little bit more time in, I'll be better, this episode is for you. Today we're going to talk about what I believe are the three biggest reasons why apprentices fail out, and more importantly, my antidote for each one of those. Quick context here so you know where my perspective is coming from. I've been in the construction industry for almost 30 years now, starting out as an apprentice, working my way up through the field in different foreman roles, multiple superintendent roles. Today I'm in the field on site every day dealing with the same pressures that you and the crews that you're working with are facing every day. I've worked in multiple regions for different companies, many different crews. This isn't theory. This is what I've watched play out over and over again. Most apprentices don't fail out in one big moment. They slowly fade out or burn out. Less trust leads to less opportunity, and less opportunity is going to lead to people losing patience in you. And when they lose the patience in you and they start to lose trust in you, they will stop or slow down in teaching you. And face it, right? You're an apprentice there. You are reliant on the journeyman and foreman around you to teach you the tricks of the trade, to help steer you and guide you in the right direction. And when that stops, so does your growth. Point number one, excuses. If we did a survey of all of the foremen and all of the different trades across this country, one of the things that would bother them the most, it'd be at the top of the list, would be excuses. Most apprentices don't realize that they're making excuses. They believe that they're just telling the truth of the situation. When you give excuses, or what the foremen are seeing as excuses, it's going to go right over their head. All they're going to hear out of your mouth is wah, 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 wah. And they will get annoyed. Let me tell you the difference between an excuse and taking ownership. Excuse means it was somebody else's fault. Ownership means you're taking responsibility for the situation that you're in. Rather than saying things like, nobody told me, or I didn't know what was expected, or that wasn't explained to me like that, or I thought somebody else was going to handle it. Change those around. Change the way you're looking at things around, and people will start to listen to you. If you say something like, I missed that, or I should have asked for some clarity on that, or I'll fix it, or that one's on me, I apologize. Ownership doesn't mean that you're not going to mess up, but it means you're going to take responsibility for what you have done. Foremans, we don't expect you to know everything, but what we do expect is for you to take responsibilities for your own actions. If you feel like people aren't being very clear to you, then ask for clarity. If you don't know how one foreman wants something done over another foreman, ask for clarity. Ask how they want it done. Ask how much time you have. Ask questions. Nobody is going to mind apprentices asking questions as long as those questions are along the lines of, how do I do this the way that you want it done? I'll never forget, as a first-year apprentice, I messed up. We were in a finished space, and I made a small hole in a decorative paper panel that was on the wall. and I was sweating bullets, right? My heart was in my throat. I wasn't sure what to do. And the foreman walked into the room, and I had to make a decision if I was going to be honest with him or if I was just going to hope that the problem disappeared. I decided I was going to be honest, that that would be the best thing for me to do. And I told him, look, I'm sorry I made a small hole in this panel. He looked at the hole, he looked at me, looked back at the hole and said, that'll be fine. I don't think anybody is going to notice that. And he looked back at me and he said, you're honest, kid, and I appreciate that. That set the precedent for me moving forward in this industry. And I worked for that company for another 3 or 4 years through my apprenticeship. Appreciative, great people, but that set the tone for how I was going to proceed. I was going to take ownership for my mistakes and take ownership for the things that I had done wrong and for not asking the right questions. Point number 2, self-doubt. This is one of those things here where apprentices struggle with this, but they don't struggle out loud. It's not like the last one, right? It's very internal. You start to tell yourself things like, everyone else is better than me. I shouldn't be struggling this much. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe I'm not good enough to be in this trade. Most apprentices experience that, but very few are honest with themselves or honest with other people and let them know. Early on, you will feel very confident or just confident enough, right? As a first-year apprentice, when you first get in there, it takes a long time to realize, or enough of getting your feet wet in this industry to realize how little you really know. Believe me, after almost 30 years, there's still plenty for me to learn. This job is still very much a challenge for me each and every day, even after 30 years. One mindset you're going to start asking yourself, do I want to even do this? Why is this so hard? If you have the proper mindset and you can spin that around in your head and start saying, what can I learn here? And how can I get better today than I was yesterday? You will be on the path to success. This isn't just hype. It's really how you respond to correction, to the constant pressure on the job site, and to the discomforts that are all around us. Growth in the trades will require feedback. And sometimes that feedback, and maybe in some cases, often that feedback is going to be very blunt. If that correction starts to feel personal, learning becomes exhausting. If you can treat that correction as information, your progress will speed up. If you can add that correction and that top of information on top of becoming better each day and on top of success and on top of building on top of that your progress, you will begin to build your confidence. You'll earn your confidence by staying in the process of learning and building and becoming better each and every day. Had a conversation recently with a 4th-year apprentice. He's about to journey out, and it dawned on him at this point that he can't really hang with the journeymen that are around him, that he is not as good or as fast or as competent as the people that are going to now be making the same amount of money as him. And he was in a little bit of a panic. He was very worried. I respected very much and let him know, you know what, it's the idea that you understand that there's plenty still to learn that will spur you moving forward. The humbleness that you feel right now will help you seek out learning even as you go forward as a journeyman. But I said, this is what happens. It took you 4 years to realize how little you know. Now take what you've learned, this lesson here of how you're feeling today, and use that as fuel to push you forward. Chaos is point number 3. Another reason why apprentices fail out has nothing, another thing, right? It has nothing to do with their talent, has nothing to do with their skill set. It's their life outside of the job site is chaotic. And that chaos begins to show up at work. Most apprentices don't fail because they're not trying. They're failing because they're showing up tired, rushed, distracted, and unprepared. And then they're wondering why things seem so much harder than they should be. Construction is very demanding work, right? It's demanding physically, and it's often demanding very mentally. And if you cannot bring your A game if your life is consistently draining you. Routine is what can help protect that energy. A strong routine doesn't need to be crazy, but it needs to be very intentional. It starts before the workday even begins, right? Are you getting enough sleep to think clearly and work safely, right? To work safely is very important. Are you eating in a way that's fueling you or leaves you crashing partway through the day? Are your mornings calm, or are you scrambling around to get to work and find your parking and get into job site before you're a couple minutes late? Once again, if you're always scrambling, your best efforts will never show up. You've got to bring your A game each and every day. Over time, people don't judge you because of your intentions. How they're going to judge you is what they see you doing consistently, right? You're not judged by your intentions, you're judged by what you do. A very simple routine can be as simple as going to bed on time. That supports the work that you have to go to. Preparing your clothes, your tools, and your gear ahead of time so you're not scrambling last minute to find the long underwear or find your hard hat or find your tape measure before you head off to work. Showing up early enough so that you can sit down and get the correct mindset to begin a day that could be filled with many, many challenges. And are you taking care of your body so that you can keep up with the demand of the trade that you're in? None of this stuff is exciting, but it's the difference between surviving each day and performing well, right? Can you imagine if your favorite sports star didn't show up and give 100% each day and even each play, how frustrated you would be with them and how you would be calling them out the next day if they lose the game? The same is expected from you to bring your best day in and day out. Foremen notice who shows up. The crew notice who shows up depleted and smells like they just dragged themselves into their house off of the bar stool when they were already in bed sleeping and they're not carrying their own weight. Most apprentices don't make it in this industry not because they weren't capable, not because they didn't have enough talent, or not because they lacked any sort of skill. They got stuck making excuses instead of taking ownership for their action. They began to listen to the self-doubt in the back of their mind instead of shifting that to a better mindset. And they let chaos rule versus building out a solid routine. The good news is that all 3 of these items are easily within your control. If this episode has helped you out, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments below, especially your questions, because those will drive future episodes. If any one of these, either taking ownership or having the correct mindset or building out a routine, resonated with you and you want me to dig deeper into them on a future episode, let me know in the comments down below and I'd be happy to do that. If you want to support this channel, check out retrocraft.us. I'll leave a link in the description. I have t-shirts there on the site now, and I'll be adding more merch in the future to keep this channel moving forward. If you can take ownership and build a routine that supports your career and keep your head in the right places with the right mindset, you will last as long as you want to in this industry. not because you're special or have some kind of crazy talent, but because you're prepared to bring your A game each and every day. That's all I got. Get back to work.